bakasana, also known as flying crow or one-legged crow. First of all, let's clear up some confusion perhaps. There's a little bit of different ways to say this pose. Crane pose, bakasana actually means crane pose, and some of us as teachers call this pose crow pose. There is two distinct differences in my opinion. Crane pose is the pose where your arms are completely straight and your knees are way up into your elbows. I mean, not your elbows, your armpits or your outer arms are really high this way. Crow pose, for people who are beginning this first arm balance, tend to put their knees a little lower, just right about like the elbow there, or maybe just the outer tricep like this, and their elbows are bent. So for example, I can't fully get into crane pose, but I'm almost there, I'm going to show you. So the full crane pose is really high, arms are really straight, and you're really leaning forward, lots of flexion in the wrists, your shoulders are way past your wrists, and it's not a second. Really high, so heels really high to the bottom, arms as straight as possible. So that's like getting into crane pose. Crow pose, in my opinion, is your knees a little lower. You're hovering, you're working, trying to lift off from this very foundational arm balance. And you might be here with your elbows, hands, like that. So that's two distinct variations for bakasana. In order for you to get into bakasana, one-legged, you have to be able to master this pose first, the bakasana, with your knees together on both elbows. So there's some prep stuff that we can do to get into building more strength, and also noticing where your body weight shifts forward and upward, and that's how you're going to get into the pose. The first thing you can do to practice is, first off, get your crow. Once you land into your crow, with your elbows bent, because you don't want to straighten your arms. If you straighten your arms, there's no way you can get into bakasana unless you're like super yogi or something. I don't know, I don't think I've ever met anybody who can get into bakasana with their arms straight. If you can, woohoo, good for you. Otherwise, for the rest of us, we'll bring our knees in, practice crow pose. So knees up. So once you're here, you can be at ease in this pose. The next thing you can start practicing is taking one knee off your elbow. So for example, my right knee will come off my elbow. Just hang, bring it across to the other side. See, my elbow likes to splay out sometimes because there's a lot of weight that transfers to the other side. So your elbow's got to be really strong. One thing to use is a strap. I love to use a strap when I'm practicing the arm balances because it helps keep my elbows drawing in. If they're sticking out like wings, those wings aren't going to help you fly. So, elbows in. Get your strap, shoulder width, and place it right above your elbow crease right here. So it's got to be really strong, really taut. From here, practicing crow pose again. Your knees can land right by your strap, lift off. From here, you're practicing that one knee lift off. Oops, and you might fall. Try the other one. As the weight shifts. There we go. As the weight shifts, you might notice which part of your belly gets engaged. The core, the side core is very strong. Your obliques, your uddiyana bandha, and your ulla bandha is going to be very active. Once you can be comfortable in that position, the other thing you can start working is creating a little bit more core strength through downward facing dog. And you can practice doing some leg lifts and knee to elbows. So inhale, lift high. Exhale, knee into the elbow, right above the elbow bone, right there is where you want to connect. Inhale up. Doing this several times just to get warm. And then once you're comfortable with that, you feel your belly working, you'll come in and you'll bend at your elbows and lean in. That's the next stage. The body weight shifts. Notice where it goes. Shifting in. Once you get into the slide, the left leg higher towards your front hands. also put the straps in and use the straps as well as you do that exercise to get your core strength and shifting the weight. The other thing that you can start working on to prep up for the pose, if you're comfortable with the last two, is to grab a block. I love blocks. We'll put the block on the high side. Hopefully this will be good. Otherwise, the medium side. Also this side works too, but you got to really get the lift, so I like to use the high side. This block is going to go on my right foot. The foot with the knee and the elbow. That's one leg, that's one variation. Again, get your strap connected. And you're going to start in a short downward facing dog. Oops. Strap is loose. You're going to make sure it's tight, otherwise it's useless. Because your elbows are going to stick out. And then you're going to be like, ah. Alright, here we go. Hands are underneath your shoulders in your short down dog. So like this, hands underneath shoulders. Walk in till your butt is really high in the air. Use your butt high. Bring your right foot onto the block. Climb on it. So lots of flexibility there through your hip crease and your flexors. And again, my hands are going to be under my shoulders as I lean forward. I'm going to bring my right knee into the elbow, right by the strap. It's cool though because it will help prevent the slippery factor, and then you'll have no excuse to get into it. Right there. So now you're going to push your ball of your right foot into the block really strong. Bend your elbows, lean in. Just lift your left leg. Start to press through the ball of your left leg. Usually the left leg will stand and come out to the right side. We're going to pull it out to the left side to counterbalance the weight shifting from forward and to the side, because that's what's going to happen. I think that's the part where that prevents a lot of people from going all the way up, because that left leg is just kind of dangling up there doing its own thing. So that's one position where you can put the block. The other position where you can place your block is on the leg that's behind. So let's do that. So you're strapping your forearms again. I love the strap. Some people don't like fussing with it, but it's totally worth it. You'll learn it so much faster. And so now the block on the other leg, you can also place it the same height as the other one. I just like to go maybe a medium height, just experiment. And we're going to come into that short down dog again. Oops, there goes my strap again. These things don't stay very well. Totally worth it. Alright. So I'm going to climb the left foot on the block. I'm walking hands a little farther. So assuming this short down dog position. I'm going to bring my right knee into the right elbow, right above the elbow bone right there. And straighten this left leg. So I'm in position right. Shoulders drawing back, chest moves forward. Your right toes pulling up towards your buttock so it's engaged. You can start teetering off, lift your hips a little higher. A little higher, come onto the tiptoes, and you'll use a block as a little training wheel to lift off, I think, like that, playing around with the shift. And eventually you want to need it, and you can play around with transitionings from certain poses into this pose to get back to your vinyasa. One of my favorite ways to get into the pose is from when I'm finished doing my triangles, from perhaps like, what you call that pose, revolve triangle. So for example, if I'm doing a revolve triangle, and I'm done here, exhale, I bring my hand to the floor. Okay, I'm placing my hand right in front of my front foot. I'm ready in place. This is the prime place to take it from bakasana. Because my front knee is already close to my right elbow. So I'm just going to bend in, right there, landing in place. My hips are already high, because I'm already lifted. I'm going to lift my right foot, hold here, bend the elbows, breathe in, lift your left leg.